All right, so this is a power up review. Welcome to my channel. It's the Geek Protagonist, um, and this is a power up review for Goblin Slayer season one. Since we're all stuck at home, there's actually a lot of stuff I'm behind on. I've watched it. I wanted to get to it. I'm gonna try. Some of my stuff might be late, so it is what it is. But basically, Goblin Slayer. Once you get past the first episode, because a lot of people are like, oh, they act like that's the only dark fantasy ever to do stuff when you got Berserk and stuff out there. Goblin Slayer is raw, okay? But here is something that I can tell you definitely about Goblin Slayer. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a premise. I'm going to try to do power up, and then I'm going to give you the my rating, and then I'll give you the review. Some spoiler stuff. All right, so Goblin Slayer is a very powerful series. The manga, I don't read manga as much as I would probably should or like, but I do read manga from time to time, but I know about it because I'll research it. The manga, a lot of people say is very good. Now, if you're a person that ever plays D&D, role-playing games, even World of Warcraft or anything, you know that goblins normally are the lowest of the low. This is what made this so genius. The goblins are the lowest things. When you're like level 1, level 2, they're kind of the things you fight. By the time you hit like level 5, level 6, you're literally walking through goblins as if it was the BoJack movie and Gohan's just walking Super Saiyan 2 and they're shooting the thing and he kicks a guy and the guy splits in half he, and then explodes. Like, how do you and explode? I don't even understand how that works. So, one of the cool things is now, I will say this. It's not all the way really for kids. And when you watch the first episode, you see enough, but it implies enough that it's rough. But they really wanted to establish just how disgusting goblins are and how terrible they are and how people overlook them. And I thought that was a really interesting thing. Now, if you're a little squeamish about certain forms of violence, you may want to, you can get through it. If you get through it, there's a powerful story there. And some people are like, nah, it's like that through the whole thing. No, it's the only thing. But they wanted to make you uncomfortable and establish that. Once he gets there, you actually see him, the Goblin Slayer, as a character grow. You see him change, but you see how he's focused on goblins. You learn why he's literally known as a Goblin Slayer, not a Dragon Slayer or anything. And as the series progresses, you start to see who he is, the people around him, how he affects things, how things work, how things come, how things go, and it's very interesting. And the story comes together very well. And sorry, I had to move the chair. And it's intense and it's funny. But basically, the easiest way I could put the premise to this, it has funny moments. He's a genius when it comes to taking them out. Like, they're like, well, you can't do this. So he's like, okay, I'll do it this way. And he'll use things because his whole mindset is, I gotta kill goblins, gotta kill goblins, gotta kill goblins. How am I gonna kill these goblins? Goblins, goblins, goblins. Like, even with something else, he'll see something here. Goblin? But at times it makes for very comedic things, but also makes for very wild things, especially when you do see some of the things goblins have done to people. Even people who are like super heroic and I take on these things, but when it came to the goblins, they were like, oh crap, the goblins messed it up. It's very interesting. Now, another way I can put the premise on this is the fact that basically imagine a. This is going to sound crazy when I say this, but please stick with me. Imagine a serial killer who's focused on a specific type of thing. And that's their focus. They're sociopathic, the whole thing, just like a serial killer, their whole mindset. But they're only focused on that. Everything else comes secondary to them. It's extremely interesting. Now, you got the character of the Goblin Slayer like that. You have one called, who's the priestess. Eventually you get to, and I do apologize to see spoiled, but I remember seeing him in the trailer. You have a half elf archer. Um, you have a dwarven shaman. You have a lizard priest. There's cowgirl, guild girl, witch, spearman, snow maiden, noble fencer, goblins. I like the fact that they use their class name kind of thing. And but yeah, you have this guy who's a serial killer, and as the people work with him, you see him kind of have to grow, but at the same time, he's still hardcore about it. And people kind of go, oh, well, he's going to take the goblin things, and he always looks for the goblin stuff. And but the story comes together threaded nicely like that. And each episode builds on the previous in a sense that you see just how terrible goblins can be and also how dangerous they actually can be. And he's such an expert it actually comes through later. Because remember, if you also play fantasy stuff, just for example, in D&D right now I'm playing a bugbear. That is a form of a goblin. So is a gnoll. Some campaigns, goblins are also orcs and certain things I've seen. Um, there's also hobgoblins. So, you know what I mean? I'm just saying there are things that also that consider and fall under the category of goblins, just to let you know. So, in all honesty, I think this is the first. Maybe it's no, it's the second. It's gonna be the second one, I think. And it's funny, it's another anime. So I'm gonna now that I'm done giving you kind of the overview. But basically, how I'm gonna put it is like this: if you are a fan of D&D, fantasy settings, World of Warcraft, or anything, you're not too squeamish, check out the show because it really gets there, especially towards the end. It's like the show is just building better and better and better and better, but you also see how crazy this dude is about how he's like, I'll kill goblins in your dreams, like that and stuff. But especially the ending just, ooh, woo, the ending just grabs you. It's like, yeah, like by the time they get through the whole thing. So that's it because everything else I want to talk about is going to be a little spoilerific. So I'm actually going to place this one as a blew my mind. Yeah, blew my mind. All right. So now that I powered up, I am powered up. I am giving you the spoiler warning in 3, 2, 1. So, Goblin Slayer. Okay, here's the thing. If you haven't watched it, and you don't care about spoilers or anything, there is a sexual assault that happens. But it's explicit and it's graphic, but part of it kind of leaves it to the imagination. But you see enough that they really show you just how traumatic it is. Now, it's kind of like playing a D&D game in the sense that the whole team gets wiped out because they were not prepared. Actually, that almost happened in my D&D campaign recently because we just started a new one. And you get one character and you do that. But if you think about it, the way the song goes, and he's talking about how he rolls the dice of fate, but he doesn't follow fate, and some of these characters like NPCs and things. But also, what's interesting is that when you see the people, the priestess who survived the thing, and she did it, the half elf archer, the dwarf shaman, the lizard priest, they are the kind of the replacement characters for those three. They got the real higher characters kind of thing. And I think that's cool. And how they had to bring him in and then do like the stuff in. There's a few episodes that really stood out to me too. One was with the Goblin pirates that were in the sewers. I don't know why that just had me dying laughing because I was like, wait, what? Because he's like, goblins know how to do this. One awesome episode was the one where they were in a cave and they're fighting the goblins and they had to do the barrier and he's kind of showing them like he's using the ocean thing like you can't do that because they're not realizing that goblins are as bad as they are. They're still looking at them a certain way. He's like, no, they need to die any way possible. They're the worst thing ever because he saw what happened to his sister and how they sodomized his sister and brutalized and did all that to his sister and everything and his family and his village. And when you see him, I don't know what potion he took or whatever, but like when they're in the cave and everyone's dying and it's crazy because you feel for the characters. Like the archer elf, they're like ripping at her clothes and stuff, and she's like a small framed one, and which makes her great for archery. But then like the stone dude's trying to fight him, and the dwarf, he's like no, and they're like going there, and the girl, his priestess, who he's been kind of getting close to, besides the cowgirl or whatever, when she bites, she gets bit into, and then there's this big goblin, which I think it was a hobgoblin, and he just goes off. Like you see it, and he's just like, nope, goblin death. And when he like pulls the hair, and he's like, I heard that hair actually can strangle someone if it's strong enough. You see it like he's pulling so hard it's cutting into his hands, but he doesn't care because he has that thing like berserk with the eye. But he's just so like, oh, I don't care. He's just so enraged. He's like, goblins, I hate goblins. You're gonna die. And it's like I was like, yo, it's so awesome. But what really sealed the deal for me after me liking it, and they give you these powerful episodes on top, and then these amazing episodes on top of the powerful episodes, is the end when he literally was. It was so wonderful because he was like, "I will give you all my money. I beg you to help me," because he checked every day and he saw that the goblins there had to be a goblin king. It's very interesting how they did the lore. And the fact that he killed one, he didn't even care about the money. But when you saw the other ones, like, I don't even care. Spear hero. She's like, oh, he gave me a spell. Like, you find out he gets spells and things. And, but it was cool because you start to find out some of these people who kind of go, oh, there's a goblin slayer. Because one of the things I loved was they're like, what is he doing? Like, where is he? What do you think he's doing? He's killing goblins. Like, it's like that. They started to get respect, and they had like a weird respect for him because they were like, yeah. But then you find out, like, one dude was like, well, I guess I'll help. And she's like, is it not because he saved your village when no one would come to your village? Because the goblins was a low, because, they get coppers for goblins. And this dude kills enough goblins that he's apparently rich. But they're like, yeah, and he's like, no. But you start finding out, like, a lot of these people actually would have had a worse time if he wasn't around. And they're like, oh, well, it'll be weird without him around. But no, he's handling things. But you find out some of them, he saved their lives. He saved their town. Because when nobody would come to help them, he did. Powerful stuff, man. And it's cool because it shows the value of someone picking a class or something and specifically doing something. Because most people, when they say, oh, you can pick certain things in D&D, we're like, oh, you can be a specialist in killing. It's like my last half orc, John, his name was John Westry. He was kind of a Western dude. He had a gun. He was a little different. He had like a hammer and he had a sword too. But he was different. But to do the ranger thing, because the gun was strong enough, he didn't have any of the other powers. So he was kind of like just a strong dude. He happened to be an orc. And also he had incredible luck in this game. There's a few times that even my DM was like, he would have died if you didn't roll that perfectly. And like he won a fight that it was like I had to roll a 19 or a 20 kind of thing. John Westry might be my luckiest character. He's a Western guy. He had his gun, pow, like it was awesome. But he had a special thing about killing dragons. Like that was his specialty. If he fought a dragon, he would fight with combat advantage, and he would also, I forgot, he would get this other advantage to the point where he would actually power up. So like the gun would start to glow, like he would actually get powered up fighting dragons. And I had another guy from a previous campaign who also had a special. Well, it was funny. He had a specialty in dragons and demons, and he was already a monster, but he was from 4th edition D&D, and he was a monster already. Like this is how bad it was. First off, the dude's name was like Hulk Duntezor. And these are just a sidebar just to show you how awesome D&D is and how this made me think. It made me reminisce of D&D when I watched it. My guy was like the Avengers where he's like Hulk Smash. Because he would do his combination, like it was on something, big monster, something, and he solo bosses sometimes. It was just because just the combination of him, and he had a raptor named Riptor, and he had a displacer beast pet, but just the combination of how he would hit, it was a powerhouse. And then I could take a hit too, and then if he got bloodied, he was even stronger, and it was like stack on stack on stack. But he wasn't nothing over the top. He wasn't even like mid-max. It was the way his setup was. It was just a really good hit. Now, but the thing is, he had a weakness. If you had a big, large group, he could hurt a few of them if he shot off because he had a gauntlet. But he didn't have as much power. Like he could focus a hit and do that. But if he got swarmed, he had trouble, and that's why he had Riptor. And even then, they could fight them to a point, but he didn't have nothing that could go. Like we had someone on lightning that could just chain the lightning. So stuff like that. And you kind of see this in the show, actually. It felt like a D&D campaign. You had the people, the guy who could summon his bone thing. You had the guy who could do the stone magic. You had the girl, she was a great archer. Like, there was close-up things. Healer, but then Goblin Slayer figured out how to use the healer stuff to an advantage. Now, we also played another game I did that. I had a healer and I had a move that was the one lightning move, but it was actually really strong because of how I did it. But it was like a short campaign, and but I was supposed to be the healer. But then I figured out like doing some of the healing stuff. I was like, hey, wait a minute, if I do this, I could power this person up to kill that thing, but I can siphon the power through this. It was crazy. So it's always fun to see that kind of stuff. So I would definitely recommend if you want to binge watch something. Goblin Slayer is like 12 episodes. It's pretty fun. Um, I hope to do more of these videos. Actually, I gotta make some notes because there's some things I watched and I keep forgetting to put down. So thank you, Geek Protagonists. Please check out Goblin Slayer. Blew my mind. Enjoy. Have a nice one. Stay safe. Yeah. Geek Protagonist is out. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And everyone who has subscribed to me recently, because I had a little bump up, thank you. I appreciate you. And I really appreciate your feedback and stuff. And we're doing it, man. Thanks. Hey, this is the Geek Protagonist. Thank you for visiting my channel. Like, subscribe, share. Tell me what you think. You heard my thoughts. And also hit that bell notification so you can be aware of any videos I do. Just click. And just take care of yourselves. Thank you. I really appreciate you coming to my channel. I appreciate you sharing this time with me. All right? So the Geek Protagonist is out, and discuss in the comments. Suggestions, anything. See ya.